So bro, the devil wants you desperate. Let me explain. The devil wants, atakanga ukue desperate for whatever item you are hoping for, whatever item you have faith for, whatever item or thing in your mind or in your heart unahitaji, atakanga sasa ukue desperate, ufeel God hata come through. Unaona? So nataka kusoma hii ni Genesis chapter 16. Takosikia story Hagar and Ishmael. Abram's wife Sarai had not been able to have any children, but she owned a young Egyptian slave woman named Hagar. And Sarai said to Abraham, "The Lord has not given me any children. Sleep with my slave, and if she has a child, it will be mine." Abraham agreed, and Sarai gave him Hagar to be his wife. This happened after Abraham had lived in the land of Canaan for 10 years. Later, Hagar knew she was going to have a baby. She became proud and hateful to Sarai. Then Sarai said to Abraham, "It's all your fault. I gave you this my slave woman, but she has been hateful to me ever since she found out that she was pregnant. You have done me wrong. You have to answer to the Lord for this." Abraham said, "All right, she is your slave and you can do whatever you want with her." But Sarai began treating Hagar so harshly that she finally ran away. Hagar stopped to rest at the So the story continues of how God intervene na kumit Hagar na akampromise pia atambless na utafanya mtoto wake akuwe a whole nation. So my point was as the story goes, Sarah had received a promise from God na alikuwa anajua ndapata mtoto na through like ndakuwa na mtoto wangu. Yes, later on Bible nasema when God came and found, when God was about to pass judgment on Sarah and on Sodom and Gomorrah alikuja na akaambia Abraham that by this time next year you'll have a baby, na Sarah akacheka, and so it was like that na alipata mtoto. So the devil knows the waiting, like he doesn't really know the waiting period, but he attacks on the waiting period trying to make you desperate. So ndio wewe ureact in a stupid manner, ureact with your flesh, not with your spirit. You know, there's a verse in Hebrews chapter 6 verse 12. It says, "Then you will not be sluggish, but will imitate ni kucopy." So you'll copy those who by faith and patience inherit what has been promised. So God has made promises to you, to me, in every area of your life. So the devil, just realize that the devil wants to attack that area, that akuje na a pounce. You know, he's like a lion. He pounces on the prey when he knows that the prey is weak. So in your weak area, hapo ndo una feel, hey, let's say you're desperate for marriage. So uanze kupata hiyo time hujakuwa na community around, and that's why I like the Islamic guys, like they know how to live with a community. Like enda pale Isili every day saa 10, man, you just find them seated having cups of what do they call those teas they have, or coffee, some Ethiopian coffee, some Somalian coffee, you know, and then they just talk. They're always, you know, friendly to each other. They have that brotherly, that community, you know, love and gesture, and you find that inawasaidianga sana. But that aside, my point is the devil knows ile time sasa umeji-isolate, ile time umekuwa lonely na bado unatafuta bado vitu kama marriage, anakuletea sasa kakijana ama a certain chick mwenye anajua huyu atakupoteza vizi. So you find the devil knows when to attack. He watches. Na si yeye peke yake, yani the devil has his minions, you know, the evil spirits. They tend to monitor. It's good you remain in the presence of God in your word, and also in the presence of God una cultivate presence ya Holy Spirit, ndio they don't get around you and they don't monitor your life. So that's why he gets to attack, and he gets to attack the situation when you're desperate. It might be that you're desperate for um, let's say for friendship Unakumbuka historia ya Tupac Shakur, kuna wimbo alikuwa atoanga ya Dear Mama. Kuna base anasemanga, I had no friends and all I had was the dudes that treated me like I was their own. Yeah. So let me just look it up. I think yeah, ndo hii nimeipata. So kwa verse 2 inasema ati, now ain't nobody tell us it was fair, no love for my daddy cause the coward wasn't here. He passed away and I didn't cry cause my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger. They say I'm wrong and I'm heartless, but all along I was looking for a father, he was gone. I hung around the thugs, even though they sold drugs, they showed a young brother love. So unapata manze, like even analyzing such a song you can see even the devil's hand behind Tupac's life manze. Like he was desperate for one, he lacked a father figure. Na man, ina apply kwa mtu yote manze. If you're watching this and maybe you've been raised by a single mother, have an appreciation for your mother. And if you need a father figure manze, look for, like my big bros manze, like big uncles, when you're like you see them living their lives in a righteous manner. Most lot wameokoka. I was watching even movie inaitwa The Forge, yeah? The guy has a single mom, the dad alikuwa mlevi na akatoroka or something. Na even the case kwa most families, so you find the child, most of the times they tend to lack that father figure in their life. And so when due to that lack and focusing on that lack and being desperate for friendship and for male figures in their life, unapata sana ndo anakimbia kutafuta such gangs, kujoin mabeshte wenye maisha yao ni mangwai, matei, alcohol, women and all that. Hizo ndo vitu wanazienzi. So you find that what they get lost and trapped into that snare. So that's why devil anapendanga such. Na kwa hiyo ndo unasikia hiyo video, hiyo music, Tupac alijoin the thugs because they showed a young brother love. He mistakes the love for a fatherly figure, a fatherly love. So whatever area in life and you feel like uko desperate, like you're waiting, you are lacking, don't focus on the lack. Focus on what you have and be grateful for what you have. Don't because there's another one there's another one that's coming around, but inasema don't focus on what, I think Nicole alikuwa sema, never focus on what you're lacking rather than what you're packing, like yeah. Anyway, so in any area of life, friendship, kwa marriage, unapata kama hii kids, Sarah alikuwa na focus on kuwa na kids so much that akakuwa sasa hiyo ndio kitu anashinda akili aki-obsess over, and instead of turning that desperation into trust and faith and patience, just be patient with God. And there's a saying that inasema, I think ni Caleb Gordon alisema, while I'm waiting I'll be working, I'll be working while I'm waiting. Let's say you're waiting for the kids like Sarah, cause sasa si anajua mtoi bado hajakuja bado, lakini she would have been using that energy instead of focusing on let me just take this verse. Instead of focusing on what she's lacking, angekuwa na focus on what she was having. And I'm not saying she didn't do that, but angeifanya intentionally, in Proverbs 31 inasema, I think tunajuanga the Proverbs 31 woman, a truly good wife is the most precious treasure a man can find. Her husband depends on her, she never lets him down, she is good to him all the days of her life, man. So my toxic wives, when you're bad to their husbands, man, say it's not a good thing. Be good to your husband all the days of your life. And with her own hands she makes gladly clothes. She is like a sailing ship that brings food from across the sea. She gets up before daylight to prepare food for her family and her servants. She knows how, imagine unapikia mpaka mboch man. She knows how to buy land and how to plant a vineyard. She always works hard. She knows when to buy and sell and stays busy until late at night. She spins her own clothes. She helps the poor and the needy. Her family has warm clothing. Yeah, like, you see, mpaka anasaidia poor and the needy out there. So I would have imagined Sarah, instead of, you know, focusing on that desperate situation, angekuwa na focus on being that, growing her character in God. Angekuwa na focus on, you know, loving the needy, blessing the poor, clothing, buying land, like hizo vitu zote ingekuwa ina use up that energy and that focus instead of doing that, you know. So in whatever area you're trusting God, don't be desperate. Trust God, have faith, but in the meantime, faith, Bible nasema faith is the, you know, evidence of things, that assurance, to an assurance that God atakam through. But in the meantime utakuwa ukidu nini? In the meantime, do invest your energy into different areas zenye zita give back, you know. If you're looking for marriage, if you're desperate for marriage, manze una feel manze miaka nini, wacha tuongee reality. What if, and this goes to I know so many friends manze, madem na boy, what if your time yenye so una wait for marriage, you use that time to invest it into, let's say, going to the gym, let's say becoming a businessman, building a community of friends manze. That this is an invitation to anyone manye tunaweza build like a community of Christian men with godly values. Feel free to comment hapo down below to tengeneze search. You build a community of friends, you become a helpful guy in the society. Kama ni dem manze usaidia, you get into charity, you get into all this, you know. Kuna, I think kwa Corinthians ni Paul alikuwa anasema, I don't want you to get into marriage due to the present circumstances. I don't know what was going on during that time, but that you may use your energy and time and focus into God's kingdom. So yeah, as in the meantime, before hizi vitu zikuje, before the kids, the marriage, the nini, still keep focusing on other areas, you know. Keep building other areas, keep building yourself in wisdom. Bible nasema, by wisdom a house is built. So if you're trusting God and you know that God will bring that person into your life, why don't you, so you know, unajua utahitaji wisdom in the you know, in the marriage and in the house and in the rearing of kids. So why don't you start gaining that wisdom now? That shows that by God, you know, show God what you're preparing for, you know. There's a quote that says faith is indicated in what you're praying for, and likewise the lack of it in a show. So huwezi niambia uko na faith utakuwa, let's say, which analogy can I use? Hakuna yenye nakuja sahi kwa akili, but the subtle things and actions that you're doing, like in the closet space, when no one is watching, hizo ndo vitu zina show what the trajectory of your life, you know, what you the faith that you have, that unajua manze, najua my purpose inaweza kuwa ni hii na hii na hii, so unaanza kuiplania, una get. Yeah, so that was it. Don't let the enemy use your desperation. Instead, turn that energy, use it to build areas in your life, prepare for what you believe for. Yeah, and have faith in God. Atakam through, have that assurance. See to faith, unasema to faith. Faith is the assurance, uko 100% sure. Na ushindi ukiwaver like Abraham. Bible nasema Abraham did not waver. Imagine 25 years waiting for a son and he did not waver. Like, I just imagine his faith in kama graph. Like inaenda juu, inaenda chini. So yake iko inaenda juu chini, zi. Yake is constant, he did not waver. So yeah, just have that in mind. Now, I hope it will bless.